the choice of the Spirit and the choice of the flesh. Genesis chapter 13. Welcome to the way of theosis. Here, we do not merely read the Holy Scriptures, we breathe them through the eyes of the saints. This is the path of catharsis, the vision of theoria, and the ultimate goal of every human soul, theosis. Before we step into today's revelation, join our community of seekers. Hit that subscribe button, light up the like icon, and share this video with a soul searching for its home. Let us begin our walk into the mind of the fathers. Section 1. The Return to the Beginning. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the Negeb. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. We see Abram emerging from the trials of Egypt. St. John Chrysostom observes that although Abram was very rich, his soul was not weighed down by his possessions. He was the master of his wealth, not its slave. St. Augustine teaches that for the righteous, gold and silver are but instruments for virtue, while for the lover of the world, they are shackles. And he went on his journeys, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, unto the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first, and there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Abram returns to the beginning. St. Ambrose of Milan notes the spiritual significance of this return. After the famine and the Egypt of worldly trials, the soul must return to Bethel, the house of God, and to the altar of original devotion. On the path of theosis, we often find that progress is not just moving forward, but returning again and again to the first altar of a pure heart. Section 2. The Strife of Abundance. And Lot also had flocks, and herds, and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, for their possessions were great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. St. John Chrysostom highlights a sobering truth: abundance often brings division. Where there is mine and thine, there is often strife. The land could not bear them, because their physical wealth exceeded their spiritual space. St. Ambrose observes that even the Canaanites and Perizzites were watching. Our internal conflicts often serve as a stumbling block to the world looking on. And Abram said unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray you, for we are brethren. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself. If you will take the left hand, then I will go to the right, or if you depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. Here is the magnanimity of the saint. St. John Chrysostom marvels at Abram's humility. As the elder and the recipient of the promise, he had every right to choose first. Yet, for the sake of peace, he yields. St. Augustine calls this a perfect act of catharsis. Abram purges himself of any attachment to the land to preserve the bond of love. He would rather lose his right to the soil than lose his brother to anger. Channel reflection: Abram surrendered his right to choose for the sake of peace. Are we willing to yield our rights to preserve the unity of the Spirit? If these patristic echoes are helping you choose the right hand of virtue over the left hand of strife, please like and share this video. Subscribe to the Way of Theosis and join us in the comments. Your support allows us to continue our ascent. Section 3. The Eyes of the Flesh versus the Eyes of the Spirit. And Lot lifted up his eyes, and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. Then Lot chose all the plain of Jordan, and they separated themselves the one from the other. St. Ambrose of Milan draws a sharp contrast here. Lot lifted up his eyes, but he saw only with the eyes of the flesh. He saw the well-watered plains and the beauty that reminded him of Egypt. St. John Chrysostom warns that Lot chose based on profit and pleasure, forgetting to look at the character of the neighbors he would be living among. He chose the garden of the world, which was actually the gate of destruction. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. Lot's choice led him toward Sodom. St. Jerome teaches that this is the danger of seeking material ease. It often places the tent of our soul right at the edge of wickedness. While Lot sought the soft plains, Abram remained in the rugged mountains of Canaan, staying within the boundary of the promise. Section 4. The Promise Expanded. And the Lord said unto Abram, after Lot was separated from him, Lift up now your eyes, and look, northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward, For all the land which you see, to you will I give it, and to your descendants forever. St. Augustine offers a profound observation. God spoke to Abram only after Lot was separated from him. On the path of theosis, there are certain worldly attachments, symbolized by Lot, that must be removed before we can hear the full clarity of God's voice. Because Abram gave up his choice, God gave him everything. St. John Chrysostom notes that God's promise is forever, stretching far beyond the physical dirt of Canaan to the spiritual inheritance of the saints. And I will make your descendants as the dust of the earth. Arise, walk through the land, for I will give it unto you. Then Abram removed his tent, and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. St. Jerome interprets the name Hebron as vision or union. By moving to Hebron, Abram is moving deeper into his union with God. St. John Chrysostom concludes that Abram's third altar at Mamre was his response to God's renewed promise. He did not settle into a permanent house. He remained a tent dweller, signifying that even in the promised land, his true home was in the heavens. Thank you for witnessing the great choice of Abram with us on the way of theosis. We have seen that the one who yields in humility is the one who inherits the earth. In our next journey, we will enter the fires of war in chapter 14 and meet the mysterious King of Peace, Melchizedek. May the peace of Bethel and the vision of Hebron dwell in your heart.